Hello students, welcome to online course of Mechanical Measurement and Metrology. Myself Abhishek Trivedi from Mechanical Engineering Department at LJ Institute of Engineering and Technology. We are discussing linear and angular measurement. In the previous lecture, we have covered the concept of micrometer, in which we have discussed a basic micrometer, then digital micrometer and depth micrometer. Till now, we are discussing only linear measurement portion, in which we have discussed the concept of vernier principle and the concept of micrometer principle. Today we are going to discuss slip gauge. Slip gauge is extremely useful as a measuring reference, or we can say as a reference standard for the measurement. Slip gauge. Slip gauge is also known as the gauge blocks. Till now we have discussed vernier caliper, the instrument which are totally based on the vernier principle. Then we have discussed micrometer, instruments which are totally depends on the principle of micrometers, and so on. We have also discussed the scales as well. But one question has to be arise, that suppose this is a linear scale, start with 0 and ends at, let's say, 10 centimeter. Then I can say that the length between this line, let's suppose it's a 10 centimeter. But how can you justify that this particular length is exactly 10? Suppose I am using a scale, putting the scale over here, and I am simply measuring the length over the scale. But this is the conceptual method for the measurement of the length of the line. What we are supposed to do, we are accepting the scale as a true, and then we are just simply comparing the scale with this particular length of the line, and we are making a quantitative comparison between the length of the line and the scale, and then we have justified that the particular length of the line is exactly 10 centimeter by accepting that the particular scale having the length 10 centimeter itself. But we are not supposed to prove that that particular scale is exactly at the 10 centimeter. So to make sure that the scale is accurate, we have to use some sort of standards, we have to use some sort of references, we have to use some sort of reference gauges, or we can say standard gauges, to make sure, or we can say to ensure that the particular to make sure or to ensure that the particular scale having such length is exactly what we are supposed to required. So to make sure these particular references or these particular standards, we have designed the different gauge blocks. These particular gauge blocks are known as a slip gauge. Slip gauge is nothing but a rectangular bar. Suppose this is the rectangular bar, made up of the high carbon steel with additives of chromium and some amount of the titanium. This particular slip gauge, suppose having the total length, let's say 10 centimeter. So I can say that in the very best condition, this slip gauge works as a reference standard, reference for the 10 centimeter. We have done a proper manufacturing, we have done a proper machining and finishing, super finishing processes over the slip gauge, so that we can eliminate maximum amount of the wear and tear from the slip gauge. And then I can say that the distance between these two parallel surfaces is considered as a 10 centimeter. And if I have to make sure that I am using some scale, then if that particular scale is performing exactly the measurement or not, then what I am supposed to do, I will simply compare the scale with the slip gauge, and if the scale and the slip gauge shows the equal amount, then I can say that the scale having the exactly 10 centimeter value. So to accept, or we can say to calibrate, or we can say to validate the existing scales, we are using some reference blocks, and those particular reference blocks are known as a slip gauge. As I have told you, slip gauge can be used as a reference or the standard for the calibration process as well as for the validation process. Calibration means on the blank scale you are supposed to provide the divisions. it is known as a calibration process. And validation means on the existing scale you are supposed to check that whether the numbering is correct or not. That is the validation process. Slip gauge can be classified as per their accuracies. The types of the slip gauge, or we can say the basic classification of the slip gauge, falls with the first category of AA type slip gauge. The AA slip gauge is also known as a master slip gauge. Then the category of A slip gauge, we can say it is used for the reference purpose. The category B is known as a working type slip gauge. In the academic institute, or we can say in the any industrial aspect, we are using the category B as a basic slip gauge for the reference or for the standard purpose. The category of A is useful for manufacturing such slip gauge, or we can say to validating such slip gauge we are using the reference slip gauge. And the category of AA slip gauge are the master slip gauge, or we can say the masterpiece, which is useful for the to providing the definition of the units. We are using the master slip gauges. So this is the basic classification of the slip gauge based on their category, or we can say based on their application or accuracy. Now we are going to discuss ringing process inside the slip gauge. Suppose I have to make a stack of, let's say, 12.5 centimeter. Then what I am going to do, I will use the slip gauge having the total length of 10 centimeter, the slip gauge having the total length of 2 centimeter, and the third slip gauge having the total length of 0.5 centimeter. If I can make a proper cumulation of all these slip gauges, I can say that this is the exactly 12.5 centimeter of the length. What I am going to do, I will place a slip gauge of 10 centimeter, then below it slip gauge of 2 centimeter, and below it the slip gauge of 0.5 centimeter. But to make sure that the fitting between these two slip gauge, or I can say that whatever the stack has been generated between these two slip gauge must be proper. If there might some chance of air, or we can say there might some chance of dust or any kind of dirt, then we can say that this is not going to be exactly 12.5. Suppose the dust particle has been covered the top surface of this particular, the dust and the dirt particle covered this particular surface, then I can say that instead of 12.5 I will find the total height of the slip gauge as a 12.5001 mm. So this is not my requirement, this is my requirement. So to manufacture the stack of exactly what you are supposed to require, we are using the ringing process. In the ringing process, what we are supposed to do, we are just rubbing the one surface of the slip gauge over the other surface of the slip gauge, first of all in the one direction, and then once the magnetic characteristics has been generated within the slip gauge surfaces, then we are moving, or we are rotating the one slip gauge in the perpendicular direction, and then we are repeating the same procedure till both the slip gauges, suppose this is the slip gauge number A and this is the slip gauge number B, till both the slip gauge A and B feels some sort of magnetism over the contact surface, we are using such process. Then I can say that in between the A and B there is no any dust particle or there is no any dirt particle. Suppose in between B and C we are repeating the same procedure, so I can say that in between B and C in the matting surface there is no any dust or the dirt particle which is resisting your length. So this process is known as a ringing process. The ringing process is used to build up the desired dimension over the range of the size in the specific increments, as I have told you, like 10 plus 2 plus 0.5. So 10, 2 and 0.5 are available in my range, but exactly 12.5 might be chance that may or may not be available within the box of the slip gauges. So what we are supposed to do, we are using the different combination of the slip gauge and making a proper arrangement for the slip gauge setup. And because of this proper ringing process, the error in the total length can be neglected. This is the conceptual motion of the slip gauge. Suppose this is the slip gauge number A over which we are using the slip gauge number B. First of all, what you are supposed to do, we are rubbing both the slip gauge in the one direction. Once you are supposed to feel the magnetic property, or we can say magnetic characteristics between the matting surfaces, then we are simply do a perpendicular rotation. You can check on your second image, this is the perpendicular rotation, and then we are performing the same. Once you are filling some sort of magnetic property, once again you are making a perpendicular rotation, and then both the slip gauge let's say B and slip gauge A makes a proper contact within each other. So this is the ringing process. The box shows the different slip gauge. In the General Academic Institute we are using M of 87. It means the total number of slip gauge available in this particular box are 87, which are starting from 0.5 mm up to 100 mm. We have different combinations of the slip gauge in the different range with the different differences, so that we can ensure that we are supposed to make a stack of proper combination. This is the slip gauge. Now we are going to discuss the next concept, grades of the slip gauge. Slip gauge has been graded in the different grading conditions. The first one, that is the grade 2, which is used in the workshop for the rough purpose. Then the grade 1, which is useful for the precision work like sine bar, angle measurement using the sine bar. We are using such grade 1 slip gauge. In the upcoming lecture we are going to discuss how sine bar is useful for the angular measurement. Then grade O, which is useful for the inspection work in the tool room inspection. Grade O for the high precision work, and the calibration grade, which is useful for the special purpose in the experimental or the research work in the laboratories. We are using some sort of preventive slip gauge. The preventive slip gauge are generally useful for the grade 2 and the grade O type of slip gauges. They are used at the top and bottom of the combination of the slip gauge as a protector. Suppose I have a protective slip gauge, let's say of 1 mm, 0.1 mm is the length of the protective slip gauge, and if I am supposed to manufacture 12.2 mm of the stack, then what I am supposed to do, I will use 10 plus 2 plus twice of 0.1. It means I am using the two different slip gauge having the length of 0.1. Suppose the 10 has been placed, then the 2 has been placed over here. We have manufactured the stack of 12 mm. Then 1.1 is placed over here and the another 0.1 is placed over here. Just because of providing this protective slip gauge, if some sort of wear and tear occur on the extreme surfaces, then I can say that the actual slip gauge will not be suffered. Which particular slip gauge will suffer? The protective slip gauge will be suffered, and I can replace those protective slip gauge with some another protective slip gauge. So to safer your existing stack, or we can say to safer your master set, what we are supposed to do, we are using some sort of protective slip gauges. The protective slip gauge will suffer the wear and tear and might be chance they are worn out, and we can replace those particular protective slip gauge and we can safeguard our basic slip gauge setup. So guys, this is the concept of the slip gauge. Now we are going to discuss accessories of the slip gauge. The first one, that is the measuring jaw. As I have told you, if I have to measure some, suppose this is a block and I have to measure the dimension, or we can say the length of this particular block, then what I am supposed to do, I will use such measuring jaw assembly in which the box has been placed over here. By using the measuring jaw, I can make a proper physical contact between the end surfaces of the box, and the slip gauge, or we can say the stack of the slip gauge, are placed inside this particular box. So by making a proper physical contact with the measuring jaws and the box, I can make sure that whatever the slip gauge are used in between these two particular line, it shows the total length of this particular box. Once the physical contact has been made, what I am supposed to do, I will simply open this particular assembly and remove this particular stack of the slip gauge, and then count how many slip gauge are used and what is the proper combination of the slip gauge. The figure shows the exact representation of the measuring jaw accessory. And the next one, that is the holder and base. Suppose a very heavy stack of the slip gauge has to be manufactured. Suppose this is the total height which is achieved from the slip gauge setup. Then it is not possible that at the each and every step I can make a proper ringing process and the stack of the slip gauge will be performed properly. So to avoid the breakage of the stack continuously and repetitively, what we are supposed to do, we are using a base on which the holder has been provided. So whatever the stack has been generated, I am using those particular stack, and then I will apply some sort of pressure, or we can say some sort of force, by using the holder setup. So by using the holder and base setup, I can make sure that if the stack of the slip gauge is very high, or we can say the length of the stack of the slip gauge is very high and it is not properly accessible, by using the ringing process I can use the holder and base setup, so to avoid the breakage of the stack of the slip gauge repetitively. So guys, this is the concept of the slip gauge. What we have discussed the what is the conceptual aspect of the slip gauge, then classification of the slip gauge based on the accuracy, or we can say based on the application. Then we have discussed ringing process, then grades of the slip gauge, and at the end of the topic we have discussed the accessories of the slip gauge.